Hello creatives, welcome back. And I can't wait to introduce you to today's design that we're going to be working on today. It's going to be an everyday wreath that you could use as you're switching out between your seasonal wreaths. It's like the perfect wreath to put in. I call it like the in-between wreath. The everyday wreath that stays up until you go ahead and transition it with all of your seasonal wreaths. It would also make a great gift for college graduation, business school, trade school graduation. Why? Because all of those are inspired by a dream for something different, a dream for something more. They always say a dream is a wish the heart makes, right? So this is going to be our design inspiration for today. It is a follow your dream wreath. And like I said, it's an everyday wreath. It'd make a great gift for people who are going to be birthdays, anniversaries, like I said, graduations, retirements, whatever would cause someone to need to be encouraged and motivated every day. Don't give up on the dream that you have. So I'm going to walk you through all the steps to put together this beautiful design. And before we do that, let me cover a couple housekeeping items. So these are questions I get pretty randomly, but come on a pretty consistent basis. Like, how do I get notified when you go live? Super simple. Make sure you've liked my page, which is super simple. You can do that right now. And then in addition to liking it, you want to make sure you follow it. Now, Facebook's kind of hidden the follow button. So right next to like, you'll see 3 little dots. Click on those 3 little dots. It'll allow you to follow the business page so that you're notified whenever we go live and you happen to be on your device or your tablet or your computer or whatever. If you're a first-time viewer and you're just finding me for the very first time, welcome. I'd love to know where you're from and how did you find me? Like, was this just, I'm scrolling through Facebook and I just happened to find you live, or so-and-so referred you. Also, if this is a design you want to replicate, maybe you want to do your own spin on it, once you have all of your materials handy, by clicking the share button, super simple. It basically takes this whole tutorial, posts it on your Facebook page where it's so much easier to find when you're trying to replicate that design. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pan you down so that it's like we're working across from each other. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and post those into the comment box below. Now, YouTubers, it's a little bit different. You're going to be catching this on a Facebook live replay. I'd love for you to join on our Facebook, which is every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific and every Thursday at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Pacific. Wow, that would be a late night crafter. But you guys can always feel free to comment on the YouTube videos. I do read those every single day and take the time to actually go back in and answer those questions. So I'm going to pan you down. Here we go. I'm going to make sure you guys get the perfect view. Hi, Maddie. Welcome. Okay. So I think you guys can see everything. I always try to make sure that you can see the numbers at the bottom because that's generally where I measure all of my stuff. And then we did a survey a little while back and asked people, do you want a shortened, condensed version of a wreath making tutorial, or do you want to walk through at least all the steps that I covered? And pretty much overwhelming, everyone said, I mean, I'll take it if you throw it out there, but we'd really rather see it all. So we're going to go back and you'll see those from time to time. You'll see a short version. You might see a longer version, but we'll stick with the longer ones for now. This is a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. You can do this on any wreath form that you want. If you have a 15-inch work frame, you could do it with this. I tend to work with the Dollar Tree frames because I like my designs a little bit more condensed and not quite so high. When you have those elevated work frames, it's a little harder to try to camouflage the depth from where it lays flat and to where it tops off. And then when you add on all your ribbons and deco mesh, it could make it a little too full to ship, and then it starts to get you into an exponential shipping rate. So that's why I use the 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. I've already done the first 5 sections. The last one is the one we're going to do today. I'm going to use beige pipe cleaners for this design. So what you're going to do is in between your welds, you're going to wire together the two inside rings, the ones closest to the center. One good twist is all you need. And then you're going to do that to the outside too, using the center and the outside weld right here. Just kind of find a halfway spot. But you want to make sure your pipe cleaners are even, so that way when you go ahead and you start securing your mesh and ribbons in there, you have an equal amount on both sides. This gives you 6 to the inside, 12 to the outside for a grand total of 18. Now with this particular design, this is the size sign we're using. So some people kind of shy away from using, these are like a 12-inch round. Technically it's 11.75 if you really want to get scientific, but this is going to be our sign. So with that being said, we are not going to use the inside 6. So this sign is from 3 Bird's Nest. You will find her on her own website. That would be the number 3 and then birdsnestco.com. If you'd want to order that sign, that's where you'll find it. I believe it also comes in a 10 and an 8-inch if you want to like downsize that a bit. And for that wreath, I am using, this is kind of like a cranberry color. The reason why I say cranberry is I knew I had a ton of burgundy, but when you pair the sign with this particular color mesh, it's more of a burgundy color or like a cranberry color. It has a little bit more of the pink in it. Whereas if you take a solid roll of the burgundy, this has a lot more red in it. So I kind of wanted to trend into those magenta colors and the mauves rather than an actual burgundy. So that being said, we're going to be using 1 roll. People always ask me, well, what kind of wreath design can you pull off you're only using 1 roll of Deco mesh? Very simple. You can do a wreath design like the ruffle base if you're using 18 pipe cleaners or even tinsel ties or pencil ties. If you cut your Deco mesh roll, which is a 10-yard roll or 30 feet length, if you divide that into 18 pieces at 20 inches long using a wood burner tool on this one, you will have exactly enough, which leaves you with no leftovers. That, my friends, is always a plus because we're always looking, you know, nobody wants to have extras to try to find storage for. Let me get the website up so I can read your comments. Oops, there we go. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Cheryl and Nettie and McCarroll. So, ruffle, really simple. You just kind of focus on the middle section. You're going to like ruffle it against the curl. We're not ruffling it this way. We're ruffling it against the curl. I usually just weight one side of it down, and then I'm going to pull that towards me. This is also called the bow tie or the scrunch. It's the easiest Deco mesh method to use. I'm taking the finished edges, replacing the finished edges to the center, just like this. And I'm going to give it about 4 or 5 twists just to make sure that that's not going to come off. I've had that happen before. One time I was just working my way around a wreath and I went to add something on the inside and it just unruffled. So now I take the time to make sure it stays in. Once I start here, I'm just going to follow the very next pipe cleaner that I come to with every piece of Deco mesh that I'm adding. So just like this, we're now going to go into the right side of that section. So I started with the middle, then I'm going to the right. 1 complete twist. And then what I like to do is I always make sure this is completely full, but also the one that's in the center, that is also spread out and full as well, so that as these start to get compressed, it'll start to get a fuller look. Now, right here, we're transitioning to a whole new section. Hi, Patricia, welcome. We're transitioning to another section, so we want to make sure that our piece kind of covers that next section, because on the in-between, we don't really have anything to go in between. So by making sure that they lay the way that it is, we can make sure that it's getting coverage from above and coverage from above with whatever is being placed next to it. We're just going to continue to add pieces all the way around this wreath. Now we're back to the center section. I've already opened that one up. So my goal when I take off the inside 6 is to make sure that I have accessibility to the outside 12. And I'll show you what I mean. Let me add this one in, which means you're going to have to push the other stuff away, move it over to the side so that you can get that piece in nice and tight. Give it your extra couple twists. Snip that off. Tuck the residual back inside, and then you've got to take your outside left piece and place it over the top of your inside piece, just like this. So now you can see both of those pieces are laying. And then as we get to our side-by-side pieces, we want to make sure we can see both of those pipe cleaners, because that's where our ribbons are going to go. It just makes it easy if you take the time to figure that out ahead of time. And then I am going to put in our right piece. So when I say left, center, and right, it's where I'm at in that particular section of the Dollar Tree wreath frame. So this is going to the right side. And remember, the right side is the one that has that overlap we need to adjust. So we want to make sure, number one, that we have a good path between the two that are in the same section together. But then as we get ready for this one, that we have that overlap so that it's covering underneath where we're going to lay that other piece of mesh on top of. Hi, Cheryl. Shadow Hills, California. I haven't heard of that. Is that, I feel like that would be, is that Northern California? Northern, maybe Southern California? What parts of California is that from? So we're going to place this one right over the top. One complete twist. Open this up, and I always take the very edge, fold that so that we're not dealing with a raw cut edge. It's the edges that like to get stuck on everything. Burbank. Okay, I've never heard of Shadow Hills. I have heard of Burbank. Emma, great question. Where do you buy your mesh? Most of the time, I buy it from craftoutlet.com. because they're just super fast on the shipping, and they generally have everything that I need, provided that it's not seasonal and it's like not too close to a holiday, because their seasonal stuff sells out really quick. So it's just craftoutlet.com. Hi, Anna, welcome. Always happy to see you. Hi, Carmen, welcome. So like right now, if you have not started as a wreath maker to order your holiday mesh, you're going to want to do that, because orange, black, green, and purple are going to sell out really quickly. Then there's those people who don't do Halloween and just move straight into fall, which will include any color green, but especially the moss green or the apple green. orange, the jute, like tan color, orange, green, brown. Those colors will go quickly. Sometimes even yellows and reds. And then, you know, you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's good. I got enough Halloween. I got enough fall. Then also be looking towards Christmas. So you have all the trendy colors, but you don't want to miss out on your traditional colors. The red, bright red, the greens, the whites. And then if you're doing country Christmas, you need the burgundies, the moss green, and the tans. Then let's see. Then there's blue, white, silver, and gold. Those are colors you're going to want in your inventory. So make sure, don't wait. If there's like some ribbon that you've been looking for and you're like, oh, just wait on it. It's not quite close enough to Christmas. Believe me, the stuff for Christmas is already starting to sell. There are a lot of people who celebrate Christmas in July because a lot of families, you know, might have extended families. So a lot of people get together in July. They do the Christmas in July theme. And then this way, their individual families can stay at home for the holidays. And with celebrating on a Christmas in July, you get the deals, right? Somebody can bring an artificial tree. You can decorate for your holiday early. But then everybody gets to stay home with their individual families. There's a lot of people who do that. So I want to make sure you have everything you need. And we are going to be doing some designs in Christmas. Anna, Hobby Lobby is putting out all Christmas. They said before the end of July it should all be out. Okay, here's a clue for those of you guys that haven't made it through the first holiday season in Wreath Supply shopping. Hobby Lobby will be completely sold out of all of their Christmas items by, let me think about that one. I'm trying to think. For sure, the first week of December. But generally, it's the last 2 weeks in November. They'll be sold out. They will have nothing left. So, that means that you need to get started on stocking up on the things that you like now. I do need to get to Hobby Lobby. I need to do that. I haven't been to Hobby Lobby. It's not like when I lived in California and it was like 7 minutes away from home. This is like an hour from home. So I always want to make sure that it's worth it and that they have their stuff out. So I'm always making sure that my ribbon, my Deco mesh underneath is well spread out so that I have that underneath. So it's kind of like getting 2 pieces of mesh in one. And I saw Hobby Lobby has new ribbon this year. They have the old ribbon too that they always have, but they have a new vintage. So I'm thinking vintage is going to be in. You guys know that I'm doing vintage for every single holiday. So I will have vintage Halloween. And is there such a thing as vintage fall? I have to look that one up. Definitely vintage Christmas. So I'm going to do a lot of retro Christmas, like Charles Dickinson Christmas, like that 1800s to early 1900s Christmas. I'm going to go back. So I might have 1 or 2 trendy designs, but most of it this year is going to be all vintage. So I want to just have a collection that's nothing but vintage, like vintage Valentine's and vintage Easter stuff from growing up. So I love the old world look on a lot of stuff. I love blown glass and Just the classiness of Christmas. Cheryl says, where in Washington do I live now? I live in a really small town called Cinnabar. And if you look it up on a map, it's nothing. What makes us a city is that we have a fire station and a remote post office. But other than that, there's nothing else in this town. Nothing. There's not even a small little gas station or grocery store. We have to go a little bit further, like 10 minutes out to get those. So I live on the west side of Washington where it gets all the rain. I don't want to do desert living again like we did in California, where it's mostly cold but drier and you have more snow. I didn't want that. That's where my husband wanted to live. He wanted to live in the high desert in California. It's where his family was all living at the time. And then when you know it, the day that we decide to buy our home, they all move away. So never buy so that you can be close to your family, because then they all move away. And then what do you have? A house, and everyone is really, really far away. So this is going to be it for us. This is our forever home. If God makes that a reality. Because you just never know in the world today. We hope this is going to be the last time. I have no intention on moving. I am quite happy here. I tell my husband I never need another anniversary gift, another Christmas gift, another birthday gift, Mother's Day. Every day I walk out, I'm just happy to be here. I never had that in California. And we lived in a nice part of, I grew up in Southern California, in Orange County by the beaches. My parents lived in Huntington Beach. So our house was like a couple blocks from the beach. So I remember taking our bikes to the beach in the summer. But I lived there for 58 years before I finally said, enough, I'm out. I want to be somewhere where I have the season. Was it for me because it rained more than anything. And I was fine with that. Matter of fact, all of our neighbors here have bet me that after year 3, I will be clamoring to get out of Washington and that I will hate the rain. I said, well, you're on. I spent 58 years of living in perpetual sunlight or sunshine every day. Very few days of rain, so I'm good for a while. I have a lot to catch up on. Okay, we're squeezing in our last little piece. Again, always making sure that we have that clear path as we transition from one to the other. This will be the last piece. And as you can tell, this is a true cranberry color. It's not burgundy and it's not red. And this does not have any foil in it at all. But it is still a really good, thick Deco mesh. It just doesn't have foils in it. Which is kind of nice considering where the design is going on this. No sparkle, no glitter at all. Okay, and I'm going to make sure my under pieces are covering my over piece on that side. And that our centerpiece, the very first centerpiece we put in, is also covering that. So this is our Deco mesh base. Thanks, Anna. It's kind of, like I said, it's like almost a Merlot or wine color. It's not a true burgundy. It's a little bit more on the pinkish. Okay, so now we're going to put in our ribbon tails. So these are the ribbons that I have, and this is a brand new ribbon for this year. This is from Craft Outlet. And so they have these new colors. So this is like a cranberry wine color. So we're going to be adding this. This is a 50-yard spool. I always recommend that if you can do a 50-yard spool, you will never go wrong because you're never going to run out of that. And then this takes up as much space as 5 rolls, 5 full rolls of the other, so it actually takes up less space. So we're pairing that 1.5-inch ribbon cut to 19-inch pieces with, this is called a beige or tan with raised white stitching. This is a 2.5-inch piece. Those two are going to go together. The 2.5-inch piece is cut to 14 inches. And then we're going to, here's some of that vintage, right? This is a fleur de lis. I'm sure you guys can kind of see the pattern in this. It is a velvet ribbon. And then we're pairing that, it's also 14 inches, 2.5 inches, with a cream, tan, beige, whatever you want to call it, with white Swiss dots. So we've got those two that are going to go alternating all the way around, keeping those colors consistent. Where did everything come from? Craft Outlet for the wine color. Craft Outlet for this bottom one. We have 5th Street Studios for the Fleur de Lis Velvet, and for the Swiss Dot is also 5th Street Studios. So here's what we're going to do in a nutshell. We fold it in half so that we have center. We're going to just walk it right up, place that right on the inside, one twist, fan it outwards. We're going to take our 19-inch ribbon, making sure it's the right way. We're going to bring the dovetailed edges together and go up about 2 inches to the top, literally 2 inches from here to here. And then this is going to go right on top in what's called a half bow, because a full bow would have 2 loops, 4 tails. This is a half bow because it only has 1 set of loops. Think of it like a awareness ribbon that a 3D awareness ribbon. And then you're always going to have to right side one of your ribbon tails so that we can get them facing the same direction. So this is what it looks like. And then we're going to go ahead and put the next combination right next to that. So right in here. Usually what I like to do is just go around and open up all the ties. So it's so much easier once I do the fold. Scrunch it up the center. Place it right on the inside. And then always trying to make sure that it flips out. It doesn't like kind of concave in. And then we're going to do this one because we want a little bit of the tan in here. And then I am cutting off what is left. I take the end of my pipe cleaner, go completely to the back side, open the loop, right side our tails. And then if we've done it correctly, you generally don't see your pipe cleaner. So those are the alternating patterns of ribbon as we go all the way around the design. What do you guys think? Oh, thanks, Carol. Anna said that was the first time I was there since March, and I was really surprised. Yes, the vintage ribbon was really nice. Going where? Oh, Hobby Lobby. Okay. I'm trying to think who has really good vintage ribbon. Now it's going to be trying to find vintage signs. I can't wait because next week we kind of move into some of the holiday stuff. All the everyday stuff is done. So we're going to do vintage Halloween. I can't wait to share that one with you guys. So vintage Halloween, and then I can't remember what's next. I've been trying to fill out my schedule, trying to make sure that I have enough supplies. By the way, guys, some of you have asked me, are you going to start restocking your wreath kits like you did last year? That was super easy for us just to go and pick out a kit. So what the kits come included with is basically like everything you're seeing me put together here. It'll come with a wreath frame. It'll come with color coordinating pipe cleaners if they're available. 1 or 2 rolls of Deco mesh. It depends on the design. Enough ribbons for you to do half bows and tails, plus make a 6 ribbon bow. So it won't be full ribbon rolls, but it is more than enough so you don't have extra supplies just sitting there. A sign. Some of the wreath kits are what's called a premium kit. So I've gone in and looked at extra embellishments that I might have. It might come with florals. It might come with fall leaves. It might come with scatters and fillers that would look really good for that design. But each kit is designed just like my wreaths. I only make one of them. Once that one is done, I'm out. Like, I don't do that design again. There are people who do multiples. I don't do multiples. Because generally it's really hard to make sure, like, how do you know that your multiple is going to be a success? Do you buy all your supplies? Do you wait and see? You know, because sometimes stuff sells at the oddest times of the year. So I have 2 kits in stock. I have a premium kit and I have just a generic kit for fall. You basically get sent everything in a box. If you want me to cut all of your ribbon tails and half bows, I'd be happy to do that. We did this last year. There's some people who wanted me to make the bow and just stick the bow in the kit and just cut all the ribbon tails, so it was super easy for them to make. I will be doing those kits as well that come with the bow. It's just flat. You have to fluff it because I'm all about trying to keep your shipping costs as low as I can. So all you have to do is fluff the bow. But you get a video that shows you how to do it. Here's how to fluff a bow. Here's how to wire your wreath frame. Okay, so yes, I know, Irvina, this velvet ribbon is absolutely drop dead gorgeous for Christmas. That's exactly why I was thinking vintage. When I was cutting this, I was like, oh, I've had this for a while. I have never put it in a wreath. But yes, it would look good in a very vintage, like Victorian Christmas design with like a nice emerald green. I think those would look good together. And so we'll go around, then we'll add our bow. That's going to be challenging because this is such a big sign, but sometimes big signs are great because, oh wait, I put the wrong one on. I did cranberry on top of cranberry. So this is why, another reason why we do that. I'm just trying to get them end twisted. Have them so twisted really good so that they don't come undone. We need to put this one in. I didn't catch that. It just kind of fell to the side and I just grabbed what was next. So now we can do this. Tuck it behind and then open this back up. So let me do that really quick. Oop. Let me pin this. So I have pinned my website to the bottom. This wreath in its unbuilt stage is currently there. So if you find that you're really loving this design and you don't want to make your own and you want to purchase this one, it is available for sale. The wreath kits are available there as well. I'm going to make more this afternoon, and I'm going to be adding a lot tomorrow. Mostly Christmas. I'll add some Halloween ones in there. Trying to think of what else. Definitely a lot of Christmas. We sold a ton of them last year. So it's going to be time for me to go through all of my vintage stockpile collection and put together some really awesome designs for you guys. Right, Teresa? I never make the same wreath twice. Some can look similar. All of my cross funeral wreaths are the ones of the same kind. And that's perfect. I do the same thing. My angel tree toppers are the same way. Just because I can replicate those fairly easy. And it might just be some small difference in the design. Like I might use white with silver, or I might use an iridescent. I might use a shiny silver bell versus a polished brass, not brass, like a brushed nickel bell. Sometimes I just change out the colors that are on the halo, because I always want someone just to have something different, something that is exclusive to them. They have the only one. That was actually referred to me by somebody when I was telling them my business idea, and they're like, oh, so they have like the only one. It's like a limited edition piece. They're the only ones. And I was like, yeah, that's it. So that's why every design is an original. If people want to replicate this, feel free. Pretty much told you where everything came from, how long all the pieces are cut. And I have no issue with people copying my design, because I only make one. I think that's the greatest compliment people can give you, is duplicating your design. So if I inspire your design choices, great. I'm super thrilled with that. Also, we're ramping up and getting everything ready for our busy season, which should come the first week of September. That's generally when everything changes. People start doing their holiday shopping. Kids are back in school from the holidays. So with that being said, our private group is currently open right now. So if you guys would love to join, I'd love to have you. We meet every Monday and every Tuesday morning. I'm trying to think, was that right? Yes. Monday evenings, Tuesday mornings. If you can't make it for whatever reason, replays are always available. You get discounts from all of our vendors. You get exclusive opportunities to purchase items like, what was it? The patriotic swag flag thing that everybody wanted. It sells out every year. But private group members get those. They get first dibs. Plus, you can also reach out to me individually for help on anything you're struggling with. I have people send me pictures of designs. Sometimes I get photos that say, here's everything I have. Can you help me put something together? I don't know where to go. But you can do that on the website as well. And you get materials lists for all the public and all the private lives. Like my group members right now are just sitting back and watching this, maybe asking questions, but they already know I'm going to have all the materials with all the item numbers and links. It's like an instruction sheet. One more to go, guys. One more. Because it is way too hot for some of you people in Texas. I mean, it's summer, but I don't think anyone wants it that hot in summer. So I am praying for cooler weather. Carrie, right now it is $27 to join. And you get both business and design classes. So it's kind of a twofer. Next year in January, we're splitting those into separate groups. You can still do a combined group and save. But next year it's going to be individuals. Because I have some people who aren't into the business thing, but I always say it's not just business. It's how do you get like good photo tips? What are some great apps that you can use to sell your products? We do stuff for craft fairs. Things that people charge other people for, it's part of the group. Keyword lists. There's people who sell their keyword lists for like $5 to $10 each. Our group gets all those for free. They just go into the website, click print, and you have all the keywords for Halloween, for fall, for Christmas, for winter, for Valentine's Day. And people always say, well, I'm not in it for a business right now. And I laugh because I'm like, when you make your very first one and people see it, everybody wants to buy it. And then they tell a friend, and then you're in business. And that's the way it should be. So look, that's our outside. Yes, Carrie, that is correct. It is a month. And you can cancel whenever. I do have a yearly rate, which gives you pay for 10 months and you get 2 months free if you want to do year up front. And then you have nothing to worry about. Or you could do monthly. But check that out now. I'm going to flip this up so we get rid of the glare. And that's going to be the design. But, right, Emma? She said, this is so pretty. But check this out. I'm going to share with you, and I'll post the link to order these because I'm always like, okay, are you going to post links? I ordered some roses last year. I found a color palette that I was in love with, basically Merlot and like roses. But look at these color roses. We're going to be coming in and incorporating some Merlot roses along with, I guess these are like a blush or champagne color, just like these. We're going to be putting these in and around our wreath in like little clusters. So they have like the little buds that come with them. I'm trying to find all the pieces. There's this type of rose. It's more of a tea rose. This is more of your classic rose. But yeah, they all come in a box. So, and everything is designed for you. All the florals, all the fillers and everything. So when I saw this design and then this ribbon came out, I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do with that. So we're going to go ahead and create the bow. And then we'll put everything together and see how we really like it. So, bringing all the ribbon back out, we're going to add in 2 additional ribbons. So let's bring out all that we have right now, which are these. So I think I'm going to go tan down on top of that cranberry color. Because if we put the burgundy, the really nice burgundy down, it's going to get lost in all the mesh. So we'll go tan, so this actually pops on top of the tan. Then we're going to go probably this color. And then we're going to incorporate this rose color. Why? Because it's the same color as the rose here. So we're going to introduce that into our design. It's also part of our sign. And then, let's see. I'm trying to decide. I kind of wanted this to be on the outside. But if we did this, then we'll have to do cranberry. We'll do that. We'll see how it rolls. Normally I would never put solid on the outside, but we'll do it and see what happens. Otherwise, we're going to lose the really pretty stuff. Yes, we would do that. And I always try to break up solids with a pattern. So those are going to be our colors of choice. So let's start making the bow. So scissors. If you guys love these scissors, Crinkle Designs is where I got them from. Super sharp. They should come with a hazard warning because they are that sharp, especially the points, but especially the blades. Thankfully, I've worn mine down quite a bit, so I don't have that much of a hazard. But you're going to take your wired edges, bring those together. You're going to go from the folded side down to that wired point, just like this. And that gives you that perfect dovetail. Now, depending upon how high up you come on your fold, you're always going to have that same destination point, but you can get a pretty deep V in there if you want a really deep one. So that one's fine for me. I am going to measure out. We're going to use the Bow Dabra. We're measuring out 10 inches. We're going to gather. We're going to twist and place right on the inside. So right side facing up for the tail. And then as we bring this up and around, we're going to kind of guesstimate how much that is. We're going to put this line right alongside the 10-inch line on my mat so that when I pull this out, I want to make sure that the end of my ribbon sits right at 5.5, which it does right there. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Making sure that's right at 5, not 5.5. And then we will stretch this back out 10 inches and put another dovetail on it. So this will be a 6-ribbon bow. I have a recipe for this bow. It is available for free on my website. Comes on a cute little recipe card too, because this will yield an 11-inch in diameter bow based on the loop size, so not on the tail size. I guess if you were going tail, this would be a 20-inch diameter, which is a really big bow, but the tails are irrelevant because the bulk of our stuff comes right around our loops. Same thing here, always dovetail, measure in 9.5 inches. We're going to twist, place right on the inside. We're going to go up and around, and we want 5 inches on this one. So we're going to come in about 1/2 inch. So I'm always measuring and making sure that things end where they're supposed to, so that it will yield the look that I want. So again, place it, measure it, and then we're back out to 9.5 inches. The reason why I like the red-handled scissors is I used to, when I'm dovetailing all my ribbons for the half bows or double bows or tails, you know, I would do like 2 at a time. Here I can do all 6. That's why I said they're wicked sharp. That one is done. Now we're going to do our Swiss dot. And this one's going to have a 9-inch tail with a 4.5-inch loop. So 9 inches, measure in, twist, up and around. Just kind of guess, but then bring it back and double check. 4.5. And the reason why I'm always double checking both sides is, I don't know if you guys have ever had it where you're trying to fluff your bow and one side is longer than the other. One loop is longer, one tail's longer. This way, if they're the same as you're measuring them all out, it should all be the same. Your loops should be the same. Your tail lengths are the same for each ribbon that you're putting in. Okay, now we're going to use this new rose colored solid. So these colors are pretty, but they're hard to match because these are what's known as a tertiary color. Tertiary is like back in school when we had red orange and orange red. That would be a tertiary color. It's in between a secondary and a primary color. So this is rose or blush. And this one is going to be 8.5 inches. And we're doing the same. We're going to do 4.5 inch. Now, since we've measured the other, you can just put your fingers in the loop and pull until they're the same. Or you can measure. I'm always about trying to find a way to save time. But we still need to go back out to 8.5 and dovetail that end. Okay, that one is done. We need us a pin. There we go. That way it'll stay nice and pretty. Okay, we're back to our pearl. This is also from Fifth Street Studios. And there went my pin. You can hear a pin drop, let me tell you that. Because people are like, it's so quiet, you can hear a pin drop. This one's going to be 8 inches. Up and around. This one's going to only be a 4-inch loop. 4 inches. We'll guess about 4. Double check it. We're on. 8 inches out. Dovetail the end. My glue gun is already on, so we are good to go there. Cat will have to find that pin later. Not that one. That one's way too big. Last one is our Merlot or cranberry color. This one is going to be 7.5 inches for our ribbon tail length with a 3.5 inch loop. So 7.5 in, twist, up and over. We're going down. We're a little closer to 4, so I'm going to make it 3.5 on the money. And that'll tie that burgundy. It'll bring that burgundy right back up to the top of our bow. And then back out to 7.5. Okay. Now, can you put 2 bows on this? You can technically do whatever you want. I think though with the sign and the way that the wording is on the sign, you may run into issues with that. I'm trying to decide what color pipe cleaner to put in, because this is a It's a burgundy. Let's see. Do we have? Yes, we do. I'm going to put in a little sparkle into the center with that, because red, it just is a little too obvious. So we're going to go in. Let's add a little bit of a sparkle. We're going to go right to the bottom, hold that stack, and then twist your stack in your hand. So if you ever had issues with your hands, that way will save your hand strength. Now we are going to fluff it. So much easier to fluff off than on, unless you're doing a grapevine. So this is going to slide onto my little C-hook here. So I'm just going to slide that through. It just basically keeps my ribbon from sliding completely off the board. This is a 24-inch by 24-inch by 1-inch thick pre-cut lumber that you could get at like Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, wherever you can get pre-cut wood. This top of the stack is referred to the top. This is the bottom. And then we're going to start from the bottom of our ribbon. We're going to pull our loop to the right, our tail to the left of the top stack. We're going to find that same ribbon at the bottom and go opposite. So I'm going to move my tail to the right, or the loop to the left, tail to the right, so that they're directly opposite from each other. Then when we go to the next one, we're going to go opposite. So here's my tail. I'm going to put my tail to the right, loop to the left, so that we're staggering the colors, separating the loops from the tails, different colors, and doing the same on the bottom as well. Everything is directly opposite. Tails are opposite, loops are opposite. And then right in here, we're having to make a different transition. So if we keep going the same, alternating colors, we're going to have all beige here and all the colors here. So I'm going to switch them. I'm going to go for the beige on top of the maroon on the top. And then I'm going to do it here on the bottom. So that'll break up that repetitive color. And then we're going to put the blush on top of the beige, like so. We're going to bring this one around. And then we're going to do the same thing. So we don't have beige on top of beige. I'm going to bring it back over here. And then I'm going to do the same here. And then we're going to put our burgundy down here. And then our burgundy here. So right now everything is separated by tails, alternating colors, and then by loops, which is exactly the way I want it to be. So here to fluff, you're going to start with the top two. You're going to open those up and not keep your ribbons flat. You want to make them rounded because loops are rounded. So just put your fingers inside and really open those up. Grab your next two, wherever you want to put them. Grab the next two. I'm putting my beige in between. Let's get this one and this one, so that they're kind of like that. And you can mix them any way you want. Grab the final two at the bottom, the big ones. And then just really pull those around, stretch everything out. Do that on the other side, like this. So everything is open. And then to put all the curl back in your ribbon, just like curling scissors, your fingers are your curling scissors. You're just going to run them through your fingers and put the loop, the curl, all the way back in there. I know it doesn't look like much now because it's sitting on a board, But that is, in a nutshell, our bow. So, and it looks weird right now because it's like, but when we put it on and add the sign, it's all going to tie in. We're going to take this off the same way we put it on. And we're going to attach our sign, which is going to go right in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and place that right in the center. See, follow your dreams is right here. So you could have had your bow at the bottom and then had florals around the top. You can put it off to the side. You can put it off to the right. We need to add our holes to our sign, which I'm using a 1.5 millimeter hole punch. I'm going to do top and bottom. I just eyeball it. I have people go, you don't ever measure? Never have. Just kind of eyeball it, looking at where they are. This is pretty because it's got little dream catchers on it. This would have looked really good. Originally, my idea was to do it on a grapevine and then have the dream catcher behind, but you'd have to go much smaller sign to make that look great. So this is 22 gauge floral wire. And these metal hole punch pliers, you can get them on Amazon. I think they're like less than $12. I've had these for 3 years, and I've only replaced them once, but you also come with the replacement bit in it. So I don't know why my husband thought, well, she needs another one. It's been a while. I'm like, it comes with the replacement bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put my sign on. And I'm going to add that to the hole, but as I'm twisting this, I'm twisting it right over the hole. So I'm actually building a wired base right over the hole. Twist it about 4 times, and then it gives you like a 1/4 inch base on it. So this way your wire stays behind the sign and not to the side of the sign. Okay. Same thing here. Build over the hole. And then we're going to go ahead and place that right into our wreath. So I'm going to go right in here. I'm going to kind of pull back my first piece of mesh that I have. Go ahead and attach that to the inside. And then add in my other wire. Making sure that you have a piece of wire on either side. So I'm just bringing this way down in front. I'm pushing it down to the depth I want my sign to sit at. So you don't want them to go all the way to the frame, because then it'll like sink your sign. I'm going to do the same thing up here. And I'm going to pull back some of my mesh at the top. And then we're going to go ahead and pull this. You'll see that I'll end up pulling more mesh out, but we want to make sure I keep it centered. I feel like it needs to go over just a smidge. So I have a rail there. So I'm going to go on the opposite side of my rail so that it kind of centers that right in the center. Couple twists. Now, when you're looking at this total design, you see the apparent roundness of the sign. We need to break that up. So we're going to do what's called feather the edge, which means you're going to pull some of your mesh just around your sign so that it will do away with that harsh border. So you'll see I'll grab like, not too much of it, but enough of it to border my sign. Let's grab this one because it's underneath, just like that. Then we'll fix our ribbons. Go all the way around, doing the same thing. And then right here is, I think, where am I going to put my sign? Where am I going to put my bow? Let me play with the placement. So I think I kind of want it right here, just off to the side. So what I need to do is create what's called a bow home. So I don't want the mesh pushing my ribbon up, and I don't want it pushing my tails up. So this is going to be the home right here. I'm going to take and tuck that in. I'm going to pull this up and out, making sure everything is where I want it to be. And I kind of want it, I know where I want my tails to fall, like right about there. So it's almost right on the side. So now I've got to work it down through the mesh. We've got one side. Let's get the other. I'm going to go ahead and push that down and then look at it for placement before I secure it. So I really want that nice burgundy to be up there, but not to impact the sign. So kind of like that, right in the center. And then our tails are just going to kind of fall all the way around. Okay. Let's get them elevated so they're not flat, but they're fluffy. So that if I flip this, this is what it looks like for you guys. So now with this red is where we're going to come in and add our floral accents. Oh, thanks, Maddie. I wish making a beautiful bow is as easy as you make it look. It actually is. So the key tip that I have for you is just keep making them. Just keep following the process, right? It's just like anything that it takes us some time to learn. Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes it permanent. So one day you'll be making a bow and it just is done. And from that point on, you will never have another issue making a bow. You will know because you're trusting the process. It's like a recipe. Making chocolate chip cookies for the first time, I probably flopped at that severely, but the more I made them, tweaked the recipe a little bit, kind of added my own little flair to it, it just made for a really good cookie. You know, and then you can start going, okay, well, I'm going to mix some stuff up a little bit. I'm going to try a little bit. I'm going to put nuts in my cookies. All right, so now we're going to use our florals. So we're going to come in with some of the mauve, and I want to do them in little trios. So what the kit comes like is it comes like this. So you get all these florals in this box. Now some of them are like your silk, some of them are foam, but they all come with like all the little embellishments to add to your design. But all of these colors coordinate. So here's my sagey colored rose leaves. So you can see when I come in and add that, it looks really beautiful. So that's exactly what it's designed to do. And I'm just going to twist those around. I'm making my own pick. so that these will look really gorgeous when we place these in and around our sign. So I've got one there. I'm going to make another one. Let's see, do we have another sage color? Yes. Put the peach ones back. So we're going to go ahead and mix those two together. And twist them around so they have like this nice little pairing. We can kind of do a crisscross, have like one do lowers and one do uppers, like in here. Lord knows we don't need a pick that big, so I'm gonna cut the wires off. Like we can kind of come in here. Let me move my florals in. Like we can do that. I'm going to flip it this way so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Just like that. And then we can come in with a little one and just add a nice little touch right there. And then we'll come down with the burgundy at the bottom, or we could mix. What if we mixed like these colors? Put those together, and then we'll add the light with the dark roses. So we're going to do 2 sets. So here's my sagey rose leaves. So we're going to do these with our burgundy ones. So we'll have our burgundy ones probably, I don't know, down at the bottom. Put this one right in the center. Just like so. And then we'll add in trying to get this all level. Let me tuck some of this in because I have like way too much Deco mesh up. So I'm going to tuck some of it back down. There we go. So if we went and added that, and we added this. I'm trying to do crisscross so that we have the patterns going in different directions. We'll get it like that, and then we'll add in our rustic one like that. So let me show you what it looks like your way. Like so. So now we're going to glue all those in place. I love these roses. So I will link this kit. It comes with everything in the kit. So literally everything in it color coordinates with everything else. So this one's going to go this way. So let's cut down our pick. I'm going to start with the bottom. All this other stuff out of the way. I got my silicone glue mat so that I can actually have, you could do a glue skillet with this, but sometimes it's easier just if you're doing a few. I just want to make sure that's glued in. We're going to add this one right into the bottom. And then we'll have to re-fluff all of our ribbons yet again. So there's that one. This one we're going to go this way because we have our sage up here, so we want our sage down to the side. Cut just a little bit more off. Gluing the stems together not only keeps it together, to slide this one right inside. We want this right over here. And then we're going to add our single. Just going to go right around the bottom, kind of like frosting a cake. And then that's going to go right into the middle of the two. We'll pull everything apart one at a time. We'll cut back all the excess. Same thing, up and under. It sticks so good to the Deco mesh. So I'm making sure my twists stay twisted. This one's going to go right in to the top. And then we're going to add our darker rose to the center. Same thing, frosting it like a cupcake. And we'll tuck that one right on the inside. Okay, let me look. You guys got to see it pre-done. That's so pretty. Just the right touch. And then, of course, make sure you take the time, fluff up all your loops that you may have readjusted as you were making adjustments, adding your florals in, adding your bow. Get everything all nice and pretty. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pivot you guys up so that you can see the final design. This is actually going to go on a black door. That'd look good on a white door too. So hang tight. Hello again. I'm going to go all the way up. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take this one down. And we're going to place this one up. Going to go right on my door. Let's get it actually hanging straight. Remove all of our glue threads. Refluff out all of your ribbons, because that's what makes everything look good. You don't want to take a sloppy picture with your ribbons all, you know, bent, twisted. Like this one's not even open. This one, the tail's curled up. We want to make sure that everything looks just as pretty as like when we were putting it on the design to begin with. Pull out all our glue threads for the florals. There we go. Let's get that out of the way. There we go. It just needs a little bit of a bend in it. But what do you guys think? I'm going to zoom in on that so you guys can see it better without my head in the way. Oop, meant to go this way. So there you go. That is our finished design. This is our Follow Your Dreams wreath. Right, Teresa, she said, love this very much. The reds and pinks are my favorite. I love this color combination for fall. You're welcome, Loretta. She says, it's been a while for me watching. Thank you for doing this beautiful view on how you do your ribbons. And Emma says, your style of teaching makes me believe that you can trust the process. Absolutely. I know you are. And Arvia says, the flowers are real looking. Yeah, I love these flowers. The sign, Anna, came from Three Birds Nests. I'm just making sure I'm answering all your questions. Awesome. All right. Well, that is it for us today. I will be back on Thursday at 11 Pacific, which is 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to do another everyday design. And I can't wait for you guys to see this one. I've sold quite a few of these, so we're going to add a different spin for it. Thank you, Janet. She says, you're an amazing teacher. Thank you guys for joining me. I really look forward to just sitting here, chatting with you guys, answering any questions that you might have. So even those of you that are watching it as a replay, you're not catching it live, feel free, leave a comment. I'll go back through and read that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye for now, everyone.